Most people drink coffee the wrong way every single morning and have no idea what it's doing to their blood sugar. It's not the coffee itself that's the problem, it's the timing. And that one small mistake could be quietly affecting your energy, your metabolism, and how your body responds to food all day long. Most people never question it. Coffee is just coffee, right? As long as you're not adding too much sugar, it seems harmless. In fact, you may have even heard that coffee can be beneficial in certain ways, and that's true under the right conditions. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. It's not just what you drink. It's times how times you drink it that can quietly influence how your body responds. Imagine this for a moment. Two people drink the exact same cup of coffee every day. Same brand, same amount, same routine. But one small difference in timing changes how their body handles blood sugar throughout the day. One supports balance. The other creates subtle strain that builds over time. The difference isn't obvious right away, but over weeks and months, it can begin to show. This is where things get interesting, because that small detail, the one most people never think about, can influence how your body manages energy after meals, how steady you feel during the day, and how your system responds in the long run. And once you see it clearly, it becomes something you can adjust starting today, without adding anything new to your routine. Across many countries, changes in blood sugar have become far more common than most people realize. What used to be considered a later life condition is now appearing earlier and more frequently, especially among adults over 60. As the body changes with age, the way it handles glucose becomes less efficient, and small daily habits begin to have a greater impact than they once did. What makes this situation more concerning is how quietly it develops. Many people go through their day feeling slightly more tired than usual, noticing occasional thirst, or experiencing dips in energy after meals, without connecting these signs to changes in blood sugar. These signals are often subtle, easy to overlook, and sometimes dismissed as a normal part of getting older. There is also a large group of individuals who fall into what is often called a pre-diabetic range. This means their blood sugar levels are higher than optimal, but not yet at a level that brings clear attention or action. Because of this, they continue with the same routines, unaware that small adjustments could make a meaningful difference over time. For older adults in particular, this creates a narrow window of opportunity. The body is still responsive, still adaptable, but it requires more consistent support. And that's why everyday habits, especially something as common as how and when you drink coffee, deserve a closer look. To understand why small habits can make such a difference, it helps to look at how your body manages blood sugar on a basic level. Think of your pancreas as a quiet control center. Its job is to release insulin, a hormone that acts like a key. When you eat, carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Insulin then helps move that glucose from the blood into your cells, where it can be used for energy. When this system works smoothly, your blood sugar rises gently after a meal and then returns to a stable range. You feel steady, your energy is consistent, and your body stays in balance. But over time, especially with repeated spikes from certain eating patterns or daily routines, this process can become less efficient. This is where insulin resistance begins to develop. Instead of responding quickly to insulin's signal, your cells start to ignore it. The key is still there, but the lock doesn't open as easily. To compensate, your pancreas produces more insulin to achieve the same effect. For a while, this extra effort keeps things under control, but it also puts added strain on the system. As this pattern continues, blood sugar levels may stay elevated for longer periods after eating. The body is working harder, but getting less effective results. This change doesn't happen overnight. It builds gradually, often without clear warning signs at first. Understanding this mechanism is important because it shows that blood sugar control is not just about what you eat, but also how your body responds throughout the day. Factors like timing, hormones, and daily habits can influence how smoothly this system operates. And once you see that, it becomes easier to understand why something as simple as your coffee routine can play a role in supporting or disrupting this balance. So, where does coffee fit into all of this? At first glance, it may seem unrelated. But from a biochemical perspective, coffee is far more than just a source of caffeine. It contains a wide range of natural compounds that interact with your body in subtle but meaningful ways. One of the most studied among them is chlorogenic acid. To make this easier to understand, Imagine what happens in your body after a meal. Glucose from the food you eat begins to enter your bloodstream, much like cars merging onto a highway. If too many cars enter at once, traffic builds up quickly. In the same way, when glucose rises too fast, your system has to work harder to manage it. This is where chlorogenic acid plays a role. It acts a bit like a traffic controller at the entrance ramp. Instead of allowing everything to rush in at once, it helps slow down the rate at which glucose is absorbed. The result is a smoother, more gradual flow rather than a sudden surge. This gives your body more time to respond efficiently, reducing the strain on insulin and helping maintain a steadier balance. Here's the part that often surprises people. This effect depends not just on drinking coffee, but on when it enters your system. If coffee is consumed at a time that aligns with how your body processes nutrients, these compounds can support a more controlled response. But if the timing is off, the same drink may not offer the same benefit. That's the aha moment. It's not about adding something new or complicated. It's about understanding how something you already do every day interacts with your body's natural rhythm. Once you see coffee in this way, not just as a habit, but as a tool that can influence timing and flow, it opens the door to using it more intentionally. What makes this topic more compelling is that it's not based on theory alone. Large-scale research has looked closely at how coffee consumption relates to long-term blood sugar patterns. For example, researchers at Harvard-T.H. Chan School of Public Health analyzed data from multiple population studies involving hundreds of thousands of participants. Their findings showed a consistent association. People who consumed coffee regularly, within a moderate range, tended to have a lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes over time. Similar conclusions have been reported by the Karolinska Institute, one of the leading medical research institutions in Europe. In a large review that combined results from dozens of studies, researchers observed that both regular and decaffeinated coffee were linked to a meaningful reduction in diabetes risk. In many cases, the reduction was in the range of about 20 to 30% when compared to those who rarely consumed coffee. What's important here is not just the numbers, but the consistency of the pattern across different populations and study designs. These are long-term observations, not short experiments, which adds to their relevance in everyday life. At the same time, researchers also point out that the benefits are influenced by how coffee is consumed. Additives, timing, and overall lifestyle all play a role in shaping the final effect. So, while coffee itself contains compounds that can support metabolic balance, the way it's integrated into your daily routine is what determines whether those potential benefits are fully realized. Now that you understand how coffee can support your system, it becomes just as important to recognize the small habits that may quietly work against you. In many cases, it's not the coffee itself that creates the problem, but the way it's used throughout the day. 3 common patterns stand out, and each one can influence how your body handles blood sugar more than most people expect. The first is drinking coffee on an empty stomach right after waking up. After a full night of fasting, your body naturally prepares to start the day by releasing certain hormones that help bring energy into circulation. When coffee is added at that exact moment, especially before any food, it can amplify that response. Instead of a steady start, your system may experience a sharper shift, even before you've eaten anything. This doesn't always feel dramatic, but over time, it can create a pattern where your energy rises and falls less smoothly than it should. The second habit is adding sugar, flavored syrups, or artificial sweeteners to your coffee. It may seem like a small detail, a spoonful here or there, but it changes the entire effect of the drink. Sugar introduces a rapid increase in glucose, which can counteract the slower, more controlled absorption that coffee's natural compounds might support. Artificial sweeteners, while often seen as a substitute, may also influence how your body responds to sweetness over time. The result is that what could have been a supportive habit becomes a mixed signal for your system. The third mistake is drinking coffee late in the afternoon or in the evening. Caffeine stays in your system for several hours, and while you may still fall asleep, the depth and quality of that sleep can be affected. This matters because your body relies on restful sleep to regulate many internal processes, including how it manages glucose. When sleep becomes lighter or more fragmented, the next day often begins with less balance, making it harder for your system to respond efficiently. Individually, each of these habits may seem harmless, but when they happen day after day, they can gradually shift how your body handles energy and balance. The encouraging part is that each one is simple to adjust. And once you become aware of them, you begin to see how small changes in timing and routine can create a more stable and supportive pattern over time. Now that you know what to avoid, the next step is understanding how to use coffee in a way that actually supports your body. This isn't about changing what you drink, it's about adjusting times, when times, and times, how times you include it in your day. When done correctly, coffee can fit naturally into your routine while helping your system respond more smoothly to food and energy demands. The first and most important moment is after breakfast, but not immediately after waking up. When you first get out of bed, your body is already transitioning from a resting state to an active one. Instead of reaching for coffee right away, begin with a glass of water and give your body a short window, about 30 to 60 minutes. During that time, eat something light that includes protein, such as eggs, yogurt, or a small portion of nuts. Once your system has started processing food, then have your coffee. This sequence helps create a more stable internal environment, so the effects of caffeine are balanced rather than abrupt. The second effective timing is shortly before a main meal, especially lunch. About 20 to 30 minutes before eating, a small cup of plain coffee can help prepare your body for what's coming next. Think back to the idea of controlled flow. This is where it becomes practical. Having coffee during this window may support a slower and more even handling of the glucose that enters your bloodstream after the meal. It's a simple step, but when repeated consistently, it can make your post-meal energy feel more steady instead of fluctuating. The third moment is after physical activity. Whether it's a walk, light exercise, or any movement that gets your muscles engaged, your body enters a state where it can use glucose more efficiently. Within about 30 minutes after finishing, having a cup of coffee can complement that process. Your muscles are already active and receptive, and this timing works with your body rather than against it. It turns a regular habit into something that aligns with how your system naturally functions. Throughout all of this, one principle remains consistent. Keep it simple. Choose plain coffee without added sugar or artificial sweeteners, and pay attention to how your body feels at different times of the day. You don't need to overhaul your routine, just shift the timing to better match your body's rhythm. When these three moments come together after breakfast, before meals, and after movement, you create a pattern that supports balance from morning to evening. It's not about perfection, but about consistency. Small adjustments, repeated daily, can shape how your body responds in ways that feel noticeable over time. A few months ago, I spoke with a man I'll call Robert. He was 69, retired, and had followed the same routine for years. Every morning, he would wake up and head straight to the kitchen for a large cup of strong coffee. Breakfast came later, sometimes not at all. In the afternoon, he enjoyed another cup with a small sweet snack, and occasionally one more in the evening while watching television. To him, it felt like a normal, harmless habit. But over time, Robert began to notice subtle changes. His energy would rise quickly in the morning, then dip not long after. By mid-afternoon, he often felt sluggish and unfocused. He hadn't connected these patterns to his routine, but he knew something felt off. During a routine check, his blood sugar readings were higher than expected for someone with his lifestyle. Instead of making drastic changes, we looked closely at the details of his day. The issue wasn't how much coffee he drank, it was how he was using it. So we made a few simple adjustments. He started by delaying his first cup, giving himself time to eat a light breakfast before drinking coffee. In the afternoon, he removed the sweet snack and kept his coffee plain, and he avoided drinking it late in the evening, allowing his body more time to wind down naturally. Within a couple of weeks, Robert noticed a difference. His mornings felt more stable, without the sudden rise and drop in energy. By the end of the day, he felt less drained. Over the next month, his routine became easier to maintain, and his overall sense of balance improved. What stood out most to him wasn't just the numbers, it was how much more consistent he felt throughout the day. Robert's experience is a reminder that small shifts can lead to meaningful changes. Sometimes, it's not about removing something from your life, but about using it in a way that better supports how your body already works. Many people believe that simply drinking coffee is enough to gain its benefits, but what often goes unnoticed is how easily those benefits can be reduced or even canceled by a few common habits. The first and most obvious factor is sugar. Adding any form of sugar to coffee, whether it's white sugar, brown sugar, or even honey, introduces a rapid rise in blood glucose. This quick spike can override the steadying effect that coffee's natural compounds may provide, making the overall impact less balanced than expected. Artificial sweeteners are often seen as a better alternative, but they come with their own concerns. Some research suggests that certain sweeteners may influence the balance of gut bacteria, which plays a role in how the body manages glucose. While they don't raise blood sugar directly, their long-term effect on metabolism may not be as neutral as once believed. Another factor is the type of coffee itself. Highly processed instant coffee products can contain additives, hidden sugars, or lower-quality ingredients that reduce the natural benefits found in freshly brewed coffee. Choosing a simple, minimally processed option can make a meaningful difference. Finally, what you eat alongside your coffee matters just as much. Pairing it with refined foods like pastries, cookies, or white bread creates a sharp glucose rise that no beverage can offset. Even if the coffee is prepared correctly, the combination changes the overall effect. When these factors are overlooked, coffee shifts from being a supportive habit to a neutral or even counterproductive one. Paying attention to these details helps preserve the benefits and keeps your daily routine aligned with your long-term health goals. When you step back and look at the full picture, the goal is not just about coffee, it's about how a few simple habits work together to support your body over time. Think of it as a protection triad. First, coffee used the right way, at the right time, without unnecessary additives, helps guide how your body handles glucose. Second, regular movement keeps your muscles active, allowing them to use glucose more efficiently throughout the day. Third, including enough protein in your meals helps stabilize energy levels and prevents sharp fluctuations after eating. None of these elements need to be extreme or complicated. What matters most is consistency. Small, repeated actions often create more lasting results than occasional big efforts. When these three habits are practiced together, they reinforce each other in a natural way, making it easier for your body to stay balanced. If this gave you a new perspective, try applying just one change today and build from there. And if you know someone who could benefit from this, feel free to share it with them. You can also leave a comment about your daily coffee habit. Sometimes a small adjustment is all it takes to start noticing a difference.